Oh, sorry. Let me start recording. My bad. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello and welcome to the Digital Freethought Radio Hour on WOZO Radio 103.9 LPFM right
Sorry,
here
let
in
me start
Knoxville,
recording. My bad.
Tennessee. We're recording this on Sunday morning, April 24th, 2022. I'm Larry Rhodes, or Doubter 5. And as usual, we have our co-host Wombat on the line with us. Hello, Wombat. Always good to have you. Our guests today are the Dread Pirate Higgs.
Hello, there.
And welcome from Canada. The John Richards from over on England way toward London. And George Brown, the 2.5 from East Tennessee. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
We have somebody lurking. We don't know who it is, but he'll come in eventually, I hope, and we'll announce them at that time. Digital Freethought Radio Hour is a talk radio show about atheism, free thought, rational thought, humanism, and the sciences. And conversely, we'll also talk about religion, religious faiths, gods, holy books, and superstition. And if you think you're the only non-believer in town, well, you're just not. In Knoxville, in the heart of the Bible Belt, we have a group of over 1,000 of us. And we'll tell you more about that after the mid-show break. Wombat, what's our topic today?
Just want to say your group is one of the highlights of Tennessee, particularly of Knoxville. I feel like it's pioneers in making sure no mindsets get too crazy or dogmatic. It's really, really great community.
Cool.
But today we're doing a performance review on God. We're at the end of the quarter and we've invited them to our office and we're going to have a sit-down conversation. Hey, nothing to be worried about, but would you like to take a seat and have some coffee or something like that? Let's have a conversation about your review, your performance review. Anyway, before we get into the meat and potatoes, let's throw it up to our own Dread Pirate Higgs for a weekly invocation.
All right. Our noodly lord, who art in a colander, al dente be thy noodles, thy blood be rum, thy sauce be yum, with meat as it is with vegetables. Give us this day our garlic bread, and forgive us our cussing, as we forgive those who cuss against us. And lead us not into ketoism, but deliver us some carbs. For thine are the meatballs, and the sauces, and the grog, whenever and ever.
And I am looking so forward to eating some pasta today, actually. So that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Dread, I hope you had a good weekend. We didn't see you since last week, since we've been off. How you been?
Not too bad. I can't remember if I told you I went to the TED Talks.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that was really cool. I saw Elon Musk was one of the headliners on that, and as was Bill Gates. And I have to say, I have a new respect for Elon Musk. If he's half as sincere as he comes off, I think we're there's hope.
I will say this: he definitely comes off way more sincere than like a Zuckerberg, right? And Bill Gates also, surprisingly for as much money as he have, does seem more down to earth than like the haberdasheries of like curly cued mustache guys. Like they like do me? Seem to have like not like you, but like they seem like good people. Like you could like invite them over and like not freak out.
Right.
But aside from them being like, wow, you're really poor. It's like, yeah, that's true too.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's up?
On the subject of mustaches.
Yes, mustaches.
I was looking up slang words for mustache recently, and one I particularly liked is snot mop.
My question is, why would you be looking up slang words for mustache? that's
a good leeway.
Strange thing to.
John Richards, what have you been doing over your vacation aside from looking up slang words for mustaches?
Well, I've been fantastically busy. I keep doing stuff. Even today, I've just come from another chat, an American chat hosted by a guy called Brett Keane. So I was just innocently watching snooker on TV.
Okay.
That's like pool, only about 10 times better.
It's like billiards,
and bigger,
right?
much bigger.
Yep. Yeah. Harder too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I had this message because he'd seen me with my Freethought Hour guest yesterday. And that guest, J.D. Kane, talked about Brett Keane, and Brett Keane wanted to get back at him, so he invited me onto his show. He was in the middle of doing an 12 hour marathon, so he was pretty spaced out. So anyway,
he was online for like 11 hours doing a marathon.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So anyway, I jumped on, and my producer is currently ripping that section of the show for us to put onto my channel. So it was a bit of fun. There was a lot of questions on evolution and stuff. As soon as they found out that I'm basically an ex-biology teacher, mostly biology, they wanted to quiz me on evolution, which I was happy to do.
Yeah. I'll tell you something. You're never an ex-biology teacher. You're just a biology teacher that isn't getting paid to be teaching anymore. You're still
Exactly.
teaching. You're still always advocating for biology, with every breath of your mouth.
Absolutely. Yeah. The first line in my CV says, I'm a retired science teacher who can't stop.
Right. So I heard you're also doing some talks against some notorious celebs of the religious persuasion.
Kent Hovind. Yes, that's being fixed up for me by this guy, Brett Keane, who hosted the chat show that I've just jumped on, and I think it's going to happen. He's a contact of Kent Hovind, and I think he's aiming to fix us up together on a chat on Tuesday. So I will keep you guys posted.
Okay, pretty cool.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, my thing about Kevin Hovind is, at least physically, he looks like a guy who works out pretty good. He's got good quads, good back, and good forearms because he's lifting so much BS all the time. So it's got to help. It's got to help out with that. Larry Rhodes, how have you been? I hope you're doing well over the weekend.
I'm doing fine. Glad to be back. Of course, I was out of the town last week visiting an ill relative, but she's doing okay, or doing better. She's recovered a little bit, and we'll just keep monitoring that situation. But anyway, glad to be back. Still doing the same old stuff, working during the day, playing games during the evening, and really enjoying this beautiful weather we're having nowadays.
It's so nice.
Look outside the window.
It finally looks like how it looks like
It finally does,
outside. Yeah. And it's actually still enjoyable to be outside too. It's not just like crushing heat. Really? Now that's surprising. So it's the only 2 good weeks of the year to visit England. I'm going to remember that.
Oh, come
on. So I've also been playing games too. I got a copy of Breath of the Wild, which is for the Switch. It's like I'm going through some Nintendo games that I never had the opportunity to delve into. The long weekend was a good time to jump into it. Good game, but also disc golf. I'm still getting very into it. I'm in a 40-person league, and if I do well on this last week that we're going to have this last week, I'll finish in the top 10, which I think is a great goal for my first time out. And there's some really good guys out there, so it's a good crowd to be in. I think. Oh, go for it, Larry.
I just wanted to mention that you may notice that I have a haircut.
Sorry, I didn't start.
Yeah, this is good radio here.
Good.
But I have to mention that after 6 months of growing my hair, I finally got a haircut, and I found a place nearby where I live that I'd never been before, and I went in to get a haircut there, and it was a brand new place, just opened, and it has a bar.
It has a bar, so you're never leaving.
It has a bar, and while you're there to get your haircut, all the drinks are free.
What? Okay, well, all the apple juice you can drink. Dread, what do you think?
Yeah.
I did the same thing when I was in Vancouver. A straight razor shave with the hot towel and the cold towel, scotch. It's they treat you pretty good. It's a man's spa.
Yeah, here it's called Tune Up, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I seen one of those in Atlanta before I headed out. So I can respect the digs. Miss iPhone person, are you able to talk or join the conversation?
Hey, who, me?
Yeah.
Yep. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Larry?
Oh, doing fine. This is a friend of mine.
Yeah, if you're willing to, would you mind introducing yourself? If as much information as you're willing to delve into, and then
sure.
Let me know how your last couple of weeks went.
Yeah, so I am a in the closet, uh, born and raised atheist, and I live in the South. Um, so I'm so glad to be here. I'm a friend of Larry Rhodes, and I'm so glad that I met him and found out that I wasn't the only person in the universe.
Yeah,
Hmm.
So
what
very similar to my story. I'm glad I met Larry too.
what's
up,
your
Jeff?
handle? What can we call you? You can make up anything. Like I'm Dread Pirate Higgs.
Milkbone.
Milk Bone.
Milkbone Dog
Oh,
I like it.
that's a nice one. That's a nice one. I like it. I like it a
Cool.
lot. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We're happy to have you. We're having an interesting topic today. I think you'll enjoy it.
Thank
Before
you.
we get into it, George, I see you. I love you. How you been the last couple of weeks? my friend?
Well, I too have a haircut. And I had to get a new driver's license, and I realized all of a sudden that they would need a picture, and I had to apply for something mysterious called Real ID.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Same here.
And this actually has some importance because you can't get on an airplane without this. So I needed to get a haircut very quickly. And I also wanted to go to an enlightened barber,
Yeah, good luck.
living here in the Bible
What's
Belt.
that?
I did not want to have to hear any lectures about things I didn't like while I'm getting my haircut because I'm afraid of what I would do. It's like stop me before I kill again. It's
Yeah.
like,
I remember. Oh, go on ahead, John. What's up?
Well, I'm a bit puzzled here. You Americans have real things, which implies that there might be unreal stuff as well.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of unreal stuff. It's called.
Well, let's put it this way: if I got an real driver's license without this gold star on it, everything would be fine, except I couldn't fly on an airplane.
Right.
So, I mean, not that I'm planning on any trips, but anyway, to get the new driver's license, I had to get a picture, and to get a picture, I needed to get my curly locks trimmed so I didn't look like a hippie anymore. And so I found myself a Latino barbershop here in my town. Very trendy, extremely expensive. And so I thought, well, I've got to pay this money. I got to get this today and get this over with. And when the barber was done, he was a young fellow from Mexico City who's been here for a year. I complimented him on his English, and he finished. And I said, "Who do I pay?" He said, "Oh, you don't." And I said, "No. Who do I pay?" He said, "Your haircut is free. You're a nice man."
That's a nice guy.
So
It could be. Well, I'm not going to say anything rude. That's a good thing. Sometimes if I would mess up as a barber, I wouldn't pay anybody. I'd be like, "Hey, you just walk out. I apologize. Don't tell them you came here," or anything like that.
Well, it was strange. I mean, because I was all set to pay an extremely high amount of money, which I didn't know if I could afford. And here's a fella just give me the.
What's the name of the barbershop? Let's plug it real quick.
Oh, it's called the Athens Barbershop.
Nice. Some goodwill and some good promotion. Guys, Speaking of marketing, we run a tight business here. This is it's a group of guys and Milkbone. But what we're gonna do is we've come together as a group to basically review God's performance over this fiscal quarter. We're in April. I think it's we've had some concerns as a board, and I think it's probably some good time to express those to God at hand. And since we've invited him to this call, we're recording it at least since he's not shown up. I think that's one of the problems would like to bring up. He hasn't shown up to work for a while.
His attendance is atrocious.
Abysmal.
It's pretty bad. But we are recording this, so if he ever does decide to call in, we will happily address any questions that he brings up on the show. Just to lead on some things, I'm very happy with God's basic level of work, the basic requirements that we asked them for, like making sure gravity is working, nature is working, up is up, down is down. The only problem is that seems to be, as we learn more about those things, they seem to be things that largely take care of themselves. In fact, I'm reverse engineering a lot of the problems that we're dealing with in terms of physics and nature. And I don't think there's a God component at all. And I'm wondering if we're just giving him extra credit for something that he may have either set up or had nothing to do with in the first place. And I'm not, and I've sent some emails out to God to see if he could speak up on it, but I haven't heard anything. And one of the main things that I say for my employees is make sure your work is visible and accountable, because otherwise, I don't know if I should lend you the credit for the good work that you're doing. So if it is you, try to speak up and demonstrate it. Don't have some guy named Matt or Lucas or any of the other Italian guys, vaguely Italian guys from Mesopotamia, speak up on your behalf. Just, speak up for yourself. We'd really appreciate it. Beyond that, I think, the work attendance is a little concerning. I think Larry may speak more to that. But otherwise, thanks for keeping the areas relatively clean. I'm not going to give you, I'm not going to fault you for like the things that we did. Like obviously torture, racism, bigotry, prejudice. That's us. Yeah, we agree. That's definitely us. But it would be nice to see you have more of a participation in not fueling that fire to an extent. Like at least if you're not a part of it, just say, hey, I'm not a part of this, guys. But I don't know. I'd love to hear what the rest of the board thinks. Larry, do you have any thoughts on God's performance for this quarter?
Well, it'd be nice if he'd show up and give us something to evaluate. But no, he just doesn't. He's apparently lazy. I don't know. All of his goals are not met. He's never here. Doesn't have much of a sense of humor. If he doesn't like somebody, they usually die, fiery or disease. I don't know.
You have a bad reputation.
He's not a team player.
You're not a team player, God. That's what we really want to highlight. Good point. Good point.
It's always I.
I am.
There is no I in team.
Right. There's no I in team. It's very true. Dread, sounds like you had some things you would like to add to this.
Well,
we're trying to here, God.
Yeah, it's all the secularists and the humanists and pastafarians are doing all the heavy lifting here. Now, put your shoulder into it, God, and get something done, will you? Stop just standing on turtles all the way down.
And letting other people speak for you.
Yes.
Okay. John Richards, do you have any thoughts on God's performance for this quarter?
Yeah, well, on the subject of letting other people speak for you, I want to know, because you may or may not know that the UK government has come up with this scheme to grab immigrants that are rowing across the channel in little tiny boats, and many of them are drowning. So the idea is to grab these immigrants, fly them to Rwanda and process them there. Now, Rwanda is central southern Africa, about 1,500 miles away. And that's
God's aware. God's very good on geography. He would even claim that he made it.
That's the government's policy. But God's agent, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, has come up with this statement that he thinks that is opposite to the nature of God. So I want to know, God, what business of yours is it what the UK government gets up to?
Yeah. I think what it is God, you're allowing other people to speak on your behalf that may not necessarily have your best interests. And it might be better if you just clarify some things, because these people may not necessarily represent you in the best way possible. And you seem to have a track record of allowing that to happen. So you got to take ownership of your ideas. If it came from you directly, it might be better received, is all I'm saying.
Exactly. Cut out the middleman and give us some face-to-face.
We're spending a lot of money on middlemen, and I'll touch on money later on. But Milkbone, do you have any thoughts on God's performance for this?
So it's just, let me finish this, because it's
sure.
No.
Don't you have Zoom, God?
Zoom account. Even a SteamYard account would work well. They're both cheap.
Yes.
They're both free. Milkbone, you said you didn't have anything to add about this. You're perfectly happy with the performance. Golden review.
No, there is no performance. It's absent. Totally.
Fair enough. Fair enough. George Brown, do you have any thoughts on God's performance for this quarter?
Well, he doesn't seem to be around much. Looking at the Russians blowing arms and legs off little children in the Ukraine. And, what can I say? God works in mysterious ways, right? Or does he work at all?
Yeah.
Does he work
Has he been showing up in the office at all?
Exactly. I'm wondering whether he's in that closet along with our guest down here.
Yeah, it seems like there's so many bad things happening that's clearly the fault of human beings, that there's no interventionist God that claims to be benevolent that's participating or stopping a lot of this stuff from happening. Yeah. And if that is the role of a God that is benevolent, that does love people, there's a lot of stuff that he should be stopping. And
yeah.
I wonder,
let's
God,
pray. Let's pray
your
about it.
job requirements, and is prayer a good way to contact you? I noticed you didn't leave your phone number down on any of these business cards that we have for you.
Maybe we should go back to sacrificing goats.
Maybe, though we do have a budget overhead on fires started in the building. So let's just make sure we pay attention to that. Larry, what's up? Some thoughts?
Oh, I think he kind of, from what I can see, he acts like a mafia boss. He never shows up. He's never actually here to do the work, but he has all these other people sticking up for him, and making excuses for him and enforcing his quote dictates. But we never see him, so is he really there?
Right. And normally we wouldn't have a problem with this, degree of truancy if there wasn't so much the money component. So like if we open up our financial books, if you guys look to page 37 in this statement, we notice that like over 10% of the people who do believe in you, God, like the people who do believe in you are giving over 10% of their money to you. Where is it going? Where is it going? And why do you need it in the first place? I was a little confused by that. Like, is there slot machines or coin machines that you put money into that miracles come out of? Could we just not have those machines ourselves? Or is there like some other system that you need our currency for? It seems like
there's no miracle. I haven't seen any miracles. I think the money's just going to an offshore account.
Like our inflation rate stayed at, what is it? 2%, 7% per year, to something like that, fluctuates back and forth. But you've been asking for a steady 10% since it looks like the last 2,000 years, maybe 15,000 years, as far as we're aware. You're not even adjusting for inflation. So like, what is the extent of this money that you're using it for? And are you still capable of buying the same things with or without it? Like, what are your costs? What do your books look like? I'd love to see them. And if not, that's another concern for us. So, overall, I think we'll just do a roundtable review, 1 out of 5 stars, or 0 to 5 stars. John Richards, what do you think?
Oh, 0, I'm afraid.
Ooh, that's rough, God. That should be at least a warning for you, okay? Dread Pirate?
Absolute 0. Absolute 0. Not just regular 0. Absolute.
Okay.
It must be a Celsius 0.
Mr. Doubted 5. Mr. Doubted 5.
Well, can we go negative?
Well, no one's ever done it. That's unprecedented.
Minus 10.
Okay,
It's not like he's not doing anything. It's actually doing harm. So he's working against us.
That's a good point. It's not like you're just not showing up to work. You're actually causing a lot of indirect harm by just you perpetrating the fact that you're accountable for certain things that you're not showing up to do. And I think that's
through the next generations as well.
Okay, Milkbone, 0 out of 5.
Well, I gotta say that I hear it a lot of all day long from people who are religious, that it's confirmation bias. Whatever it is that's good that happens, it is God.
Right.
So I'm sorry to have to throw that out there, but he's working all the time. I see it in people's comments. They make comments on it. I'll go, yeah.
But how many comments have you seen by God himself?
That's right.
Good point. I have had conversations with people like, how do you define God? And I can get them away from the idea, or at least get them thinking about what they mean when they say God. And they just basically say reality, but only the good stuff. And I'm like, give me an example of something that's like a good thing in reality that has a component to it. And they have trouble bringing up examples because everything's nuanced if you look at it. And the things that we value as good could be interpreted as bad. Like, I have a car. Yeah, but that makes pollution, right? It's like, oh, well, then I guess God isn't Ferraris, right? You can get people to stand back on stuff like that. But honestly, what would be your final rating? 0 out of 5 stars for God. So we can close up this call and then get to the next God.
Oh.
vision.
For the existence of God, or for
His
what? For
performance
his job,
this quarter. His
job
performance
performance.
Yeah.
This
His
quarter,
this
zero,
quarter.
-0. Yeah.
-0, the rarest number of all. George Brown, 2.5.
Well, I think, in terms of the cost benefit analysis, we're not getting our money's worth from this guy. I think we should take him back to God or us and get a refund and buy ourselves another God. Maybe we could get a better one who would do a better job for us.
Flying spaghetti monsters available.
Oh, okay. Listen.
That works.
We got Flying Spaghetti resume, and I think he's actually overqualified for this position, if anything. But yeah, if he's open to it, I think that'd be a good get for us.
If he shows up, it'd be better.
John Richards, what do you think?
Well, I just want to know how we can give him a rating, because, other services like Amazon and YouTube and so on, they send us a form and we can select how many stars we've chosen. And if we like, we can put a comment, but nothing from this guy.
Right. It does seem weird. It's like, even when there's jolts of lightning, it's just people being like, well, I think that's God, right? Like if all of us were to drop dead right now, maybe that would be indicative of something. Yet I've yet to see God take such a personal stance in things. It would just be nice if he could just call into the show and explain his behalf on his lack of accountability for this entire quarter. I think it is very concerning. Dread Pirate.
Yeah, I was just going to say that there was an Ipsos Reid poll done in Canada on religiosity, and the increase in irreligious people is quite high. It's like over 41% or something like that.
That's so good news.
It is good news. And Christianity is down to like 21%,
Waning.
or something like that. So waning.
Yeah.
Good.
And there's
even
there's some people who say that religion may be gone by 2040. Like all churches are closing everywhere.
Awesome.
Churches
the
are
people who
closing
are claiming to be Christians are desperately fracturing in terms of what that means to them, and largely are non-denominational and largely just in the spiritual sense of culturally Christian, but not actually like even attending church and knowing what the Bible says. That said, God, my final review would be 1 star. I'll be the nicest guy here. I'll just say, I'll put a little warning here. I know we'll probably see the same problems next quarter, but you're on warning right now. And I just want to make sure you know that we all support you. Just come in to work. And we can work it from there. We're encouraging you to actually do your job. We have a lot of faith in you, whatever that's worth. So we'd like to have hours at your actual location.
Many do.
Yeah. Like faith doesn't really get us anywhere. It doesn't fill up the coffee machine. Help us out here. That's it for at least this first half hour. I think we're at the bottom of the half. Larry, would you mind taking us out?
Oh, not at all. This has been the first half of the Digital Freethought Radio Hour. We're on WOZO Radio, 103.9 LP FM, right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And we'll be right back after this short break.
Cool. I'm pulling up listener comments. If anyone needs to take a break or walk away, they're more than welcome to.
I'm good. And George,
Does everybody? I'm just curious about something about when you look at your chat section, you people, do you see it as badly as I do? It's like I see your words as kind of like a medium gray against a lighter gray background. I can barely read the chat.
Huh.
No, it looks pretty good on my side.
Yeah. Black words in a gray box on a white background.
Okay.
I can hardly read it.
Your video's off, George, if you don't know it.
Well, I'm in Linux, so.
Okay.
He's in Linux land.
That might have something to do with it. That might have something to do with the colors.
Yeah. Oh, I don't see anything like what Tyrone is looking at. Wow. No.
What Tyrone is looking at. Wow. So here are the comments
mine
from
is
last week's
totally
episode.
Different.
There's a big rant about religion. There's guys wishing us well. Matt's doing great. He's doing 2 to 3 shows per week. That's good to hear. Okay. So I'm ready to start recording if you guys are.
Okay, I am.
Cool. I'll just go down the comments real quick and then we can let me stop sharing. Let me go to Larry. Ready?
Yeah.
Dred, you don't need another 6 count, right?
No.
Okay. 5, 4, 3.
You get
2.
5 count.
Welcome back to the second half of the Digital Freethought Radio Hour. I'm Doubter 5, and we're on WOZO Radio, 103.9 LPFM right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Let's talk just for a second about the Atheist Society of Knoxville. ASK was founded in 2002. We're in our 20th year. ASK has over 1,000 members, and we have weekly in-person meetings in Knoxville's Old City at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria. Look for us inside at the high top tables or out on the deck if it's a nice day. We're usually the loudest and happiest group there. We
Very
also
true.
have Tuesday evening Zoom meetings. If you'd like to join us virtually, email us first at askanatheist@knoxvilleatheist.org or let's chat se@gmail.com, and we'll send you a link so you can join us. You can also find ASK on Facebook, meetup.com, or go to the website at knoxvilleatheist.org. Or you can just Google Knoxville Atheist. It's just that simple. By the way, if you don't live in Knoxville, you can still go to Meetup and do a search for an atheist group in your town. Don't find one?
Start
one.
Fun.
Right, where you want to pick up there, Wombat?
Hey, let's do some listener comments real quick. Got a lot of feedback over the holiday break. Thank you guys so much. We'll go through these, and feel free to leave more questions on our channels or our email addresses, which we'll plug at the end of the show. Dada's Trader Room says 5 out of 5 atheists will agree that you exist. Does that mean that I'm not an atheist because I claim that I do not exist? Or does that mean Ty is wrong? So a lot of problems here. One, that's not the only 2 options. That's a false dichotomy.
False
Right.
dichotomy. Yeah.
2, atheists don't agree that something exists. Atheists are just people who lack belief in something because they don't have enough evidence to support or warrant belief in it.
Right.
That's it. And likewise, 5 out of 5 people agreeing on something doesn't necessarily make it something true, but 5 out of 5 people can be justified in not having enough evidence to believe in something. And that's all an atheist is. They're not making a definitive claim that a God doesn't exist.
Right.
They're just in agreement that they have not met their standard of proof yet based on the evidence provided to them. So there's, fix those things and we'll come right back to it. Speaking of things we don't necessarily understand, Jan Dross says, we must be born again. You are born again when you are like Jesus, then you are sinless. And then there's a lot of nice little helpful citations. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Let me keep scrolling down.
All the verses.
2016. There's a whole thing here. Thank you very much. Afterwards, my illness was the best thing that happened to me. That was the last thing that he said there. That's great. I appreciate it. Anyway, California said from last week's episode, which was, how do atheists get some RESPECT? Said, man, I can't wait until you're able to get back out there and doing SE or Socratic examinations. Again, really missing your energy and enthusiasm in those one-on-one interviews. I know Reed from Cordial Curiosity has been publishing a few newer ones recently, so hopefully soon. I'm waiting until COVID's completely gone, and I think otherwise I don't feel like it would be responsible for me to go out and do that on a regular basis and then go to work at the same time too.
Right.
I really do respect that a lot of people are choosing not to wear face masks, and I completely respect that, though I really want to make sure that I'm advocating for proper health for this country, because we aren't getting it necessarily from the government. It seems a lot of the choices are political, so I at least want to make sure that the people I work with are safe from anything that I could pull from random people off the streets and stuff like that.
Sure.
So Ab Kane says, I still avoid saying I'm an atheist and just use the I don't believe in much of anything without evidence. Mate, your mom is a total boss. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I love my mom too. Also, I do think if you can, maybe push the waters a bit with some friends that you do trust and let them know that you're an atheist. Because the more we let people know that we're atheists, the better.
And you might find like-minded people, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
You might find friends that you didn't know.
Right.
Likewise,
I always
Go
like
ahead.
to remind people that if they don't come out of the atheist closet and let people know that they're an atheist, even atheists around them will assume they're Christian, and they
Right.
may not be able to get their friendship, their companionship.
Yeah.
likewise, if you're hiding that you're an atheist, it makes it seem like it's something that's worth hiding. right?
Right.
And
Mhm.
it truly isn't. It's
Yeah.
not something that you should be ashamed or worried about saying, because that's how Christians win even more, right?
Right.
But they are the most untrusted, distrusted, or whatever how you say it, portion of
Yeah.
the population.
But
It's
it's
like,
Well,
not
I'm
their
saying
fault.
eat the babies in front of the Christians. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Be a baby.
I don't want to be hated.
Well, you're
Or
gonna
I've already lost my job, and anyway, that's a whole other situation story. But I suspect, I can't ever prove it or not, but
yeah,
that was part of it.
yeah. But if they
You
keep
know-
us quiet, then they have won.
Right.
Truth.
That's true,
And
Larry.
through silence we give up our power. And also being disliked versus warranting being disliked are two completely different things. And I can't control how other people feel about me. When they see, if they see a person with black skin and that bothers them, that's nothing on me. So
Right.
like I say, be the real you, right?
Right.
Yep.
And,
Mhm.
and represent that, because
And
it
the-
takes too much energy to be anyone else.
Yeah. And the
Just
thing
could be
is, too,
even dangerous, you know.
Mm.
well, the thing is, too, is I'm not particularly worried about being hated by people who believe in nonsense, because they're not with me intellectually anyway. So
Well,
Right,
let me-
yeah.
those
Put that on a
aren't
t-shirt.
those aren't the people I care about to have.
You know what? Well,
like-
let me say this. I mean, we're all talking about everybody should come out. There are situations when you shouldn't. I don't think.
Right.
I wouldn't come out if it means that you're going to lose your home because your family's going to throw you out in the street.
Right.
I wouldn't come out if you're going to lose your livelihood because you know that
Yeah.
you're working at Chick-fil-A or something and you're going to have to be thrown to the curb. You know, there are situations when it is not a good idea to come out.
Right.
Sometimes you may not even want to come out if it's not the other person's business. Like if I'm just dealing with someone who is like, hey, I don't, this is a transaction where once I'm done with you, I'm never seeing you again. I don't
Well,
need
it's too much for some people to handle, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
I was at the pet store, not the pet store. I was at the animal shelter yesterday, you know, petting some cats, giving some love out and walking dogs. And a lady comes in and she's like, I just lost my cat. I'm in grief, but I want to see what cats you guys have available. But don't worry about me. I know I'm going to see my cat again in heaven. And I'm like, I'm not going to go out of my way and tell this person
Right.
that like, I don't have it. Like, it's just, yeah, I'll show you where the cats are. It's not a big deal. John Richards, what's up?
I'm wondering why she would go to cat heaven. But anyway, I think this is really got to be left to the person concerned.
Sure.
Although we should encourage people to come out of the
Right.
closet.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right.
But it's got to be a personal choice, because some people coming out of the closet could be a risk to life.
Very
Yeah.
true. Very true. So great conversation.
Depending on what country you're in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
definitely.
And the religious know this, of course, because that's why they set up this shunning activity between members of families.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Or discommunication and all that.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Excommunication.
And of course, there's the people, the clergy themselves that are leaving faith, but find themselves, you know, betwixt a rock and a hard place because perhaps preaching has been the only job they've ever had.
Right.
So I'm talking about the clergy project, of course.
Sure. They can
so-
find refuge there.
Yeah. So, you know, it can be hard for all kinds of people, right? But
Yeah.
I think, you know, maybe it's important if you're in a circumstance where it's not safe or you know, could pose a risk to your livelihood, that you actively work toward creating circumstances for yourself in which you don't have to be in that position, you know, if you can, right?
Right.
You
Right.
know, stop working at Chick-fil-A and get another job, right? And then you don't have to worry about, you know, coming out as an atheist and losing it, you know? So,
Right. You know, some of the things I wish that science had were impassioned speakers that are capable of breaking complex facts down to audiences in the way that a pastor does speak to his congregation. And for, you know, there's only so many like Neil deGrasse Tysons and Carl Sagans in the world, right? And so like if we had a religious person who's like, hey, I'm out as a closet as an atheist, but I do feel like I have these skill sets and I do have this motivation to express aspects of science in just as wondrous a way, so that people can get on board with this and advertise it and speak to it and use that as like the new truth and deliver it in a vehicle where people who need that religious hole filled can get it from more rational bases. I would really appreciate if more like they just readapted their skill set to something a bit more useful, utilitarian, because it's an incredible thing to see. I just wish it wasn't wasted on false hope, you know? Like, I wish it wasn't just a peddling of essentially.
Think about all the resources that religion has diverted in the last 5,000 years.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. It's travesty. It's a travesty. California One, thank you so much for that comment. That was a great, stimulating conversation. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that? No, that was App Kane. We appreciate that. So, Data's Trading Room, also another comment on the update on Matt Dillahunty. He's doing great. He's doing 2 to 3 shows per week. I'm really happy to hear that. Matt Dillahunty, Atheist Experience, Atheist Society of was it Austin? Atheist Community of Austin. Recently had some surgery on himself. I won't get into the details too much, but has from the looks of it made a full recovery. One last comment from Data's Trading Room. A person, no matter of faith or lack of thereof, can be a better humanist. And I think we can all agree with that. Does that seem fair?
Yep.
Sure.
That's pretty fair.
I agree. Yeah. All right.
Even a Pastafarian.
That's right.
Even a Pastafarian.
That's right.
All right. So, guys, we're in the last stretches of today's show. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the Old Testament, which we have a regional expert on it, the not so Jewish but is Jewish, George Brown, second and a half. George Brown, second and a half. Are you still with us?
I think so.
Nice. You had a comment on one of the weird inconsistencies about the Old Testament. Did you want to talk about that?
I can't remember a thing about it.
You wanted to talk about God saying, "Hey, don't let any other gods before us."
Oh, yes.
There you go.
Well, that you see, I really started thinking about that in the context of, who else is available in the God store, Right. In other words, if he's saying, thou shalt not have any other God before me, well, that's an acknowledgement that there are other gods.
Right.
Maybe we don't like this particular one.
Kind of going back
up.
Yeah, kind of going back to what we were saying at the beginning of the show, like maybe we should hire a different God to take God's place, like one that would actually show up. I feel like we downloaded a very expensive app on our phone that watches everything that we have and charges us 10% of our paycheck every month, but does nothing on our phone. It doesn't turn on the light, doesn't take a picture, doesn't communicate with the friends. It does nothing. Maybe there are better apps out there. And if the terms of service of God app is don't let any other apps before me, maybe we should look back at the God app store and the Flying Spaghetti Monster. I mean, Dredd, can you make an argument for why we should have that be our new God in chief, if you will?
Our newly Lord?
Yeah.
Because the beer, the beer volcano and the stripper factory as rewards for a life well lived in service of all things Pastafarian.
Okay.
I'm sold.
Yeah. and also there's the God back guarantee. So
there's a God back guarantee.
Yeah, if you if you try out Pastafarianism for 30 days and you don't like it, you can always appeal to your old God to take you back.
Okay. There is unlimited pasta in this deal, right? Or is his body considered
pasta,
holy?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I'm signing up for. I'm not much of a beer drinker. Hey, what's up, John Richards?
What's his trade-in value, Dredd?
Box of lasagna noodles. I don't know.
Cool.
I'm sold, as I said.
I mean, it sounds more entertaining than some of the other guys out there. Though I would like to try Joe Pesci, at least for, a trial period. I've heard praying to him is just as effective, and I know where he lives. So it might be.
No. My favorite would be Morgan Freeman. Can I have Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, he's a hardcore Christian, that guy.
I feel like he's typecast into the role, and I feel like if he could just speak a little faster, I need at least 70 words per minute for my gods. Just I need to worry about it's like that's way too slow. Come on, hurry up, man. National Geographic, I'll watch your documentaries. I appreciate it. I got a number of them.
Is he in the room?
I think I think we
We'll
need
go
to
for
be looking at the resumes of different gods and see, is there one that we would like to hire?
Maybe that's something we can do in the future. I really
Yeah,
like
but
that idea.
the resumes are always made up.
Aren't all resumes made up, Larry?
Yeah, they are. There's no validity
fact
there.
checking. There's no fact
No.
checking. Yeah.
Who do we
Especially
call to
those.
verify your resume? That's the real
Yeah.
question. Like, who can we call
Well,
to verify
Who are
this?
your references?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who are your references?
Like I was saying, over here in the UK, we have the technology.
Okay.
We have an organization that does it.
Nice. Though, God's reference would be Jesus, but I'm like, isn't he you? Isn't that just you at a different number?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on
That's
there?
a tautology there.
It's a little bit of a shifty situation. Guys, we're at the point of the show where it's time to plug yourselves. Think about something that you'd like to recommend that we check out before next week. And I'll throw it up to Dread Pirate Higgs first.
All right. So you can find my stuff on my YouTube channel at Mind Pirate, MINDPYRATE. I do live stream this at 7 a.m. PDT. That's Pacific Daylight Time. And it looks like we're going to be sticking to it, too.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I'm doing a show with John Richards, the Global Atheist News Review, where a panel of folks look over the headlines of the past week and speak our thoughts on
it's a worldwide
going on.
troop.
Yeah. So that's where you can find me.
Nice.
Views on the news. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, and I stream that at 11 a.m. on Sundays.
Okay. Very, very cool. It's still today in a couple of hours, right, John Richards?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's
wonderful.
11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time.
7
Yes.
p.m. here. So whatever that is where you
so
are.
it's 11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time.
Yeah. So
John,
it's
I know
not-
you got the most stuff to plug, so I'm just going to see if anybody else has anything. George Brown, do you have anything you'd like to recommend that we check out before next week?
Well, every time you ask me that, I can't think straight. So
That's our new little gig. That's the bit that we have now. Milkbone, do you have anything that you'd like for us to check out, or anything interesting you'd like for us to check out before next week? She says she's away, so I'll put it in for her. iPhones are probably pretty cool. All right, there we go. Larry Rhodes, do you have anything you'd recommend that we check out, or anything you'd like to plug?
Well, yeah.
Not plug yet.
Not yet.
Not
If
yet.
you're having trouble leaving religious beliefs behind, and a lot of people struggle with that, you can find help online at recoveringfromreligion.org. By the way, you can. I understand a lot of clergy members are leaving the church because they no longer believe. If you're a preacher, imam, pastor, or priest, but have come to believe or see that the claims of religion are not justified, there's help for you at the Clergy Project. The link is clergyproject.org. My content can be found at digitalfreethought.com. Be sure to click on the blog button.
Hey, we're not closing out the show.
Okay, I thought you were.
No.
I thought it was
We're
kind of
still-
early, but
I saw you get into the script. I was just like, not yet. But that's a good thing for us to check out. My thing to check out is visit your local animal shelter. If you can walk dogs, they'd really appreciate it more than money. They really respect your time and appreciate your time. And then also humanizing cats, getting them acclimated to being around people petted helps them get adopted more. Black cats are the least likely to get adopted. So if you see some black cats, give them love. They're really, really chill animals. And it's a thing that I've been really enjoying doing, more so than sitting in a church pew and feeling good about myself when I walk out. Help your community, get out there, pick up trash, do something, but don't just sit. Even if you're religious, get out there and try to do something productive. Dread, what do you think?
I was just going to say the Pastafarian Church here in Grand Forks has successfully been included into the Adopt a Highway program. So
Nice.
We have a 2 kilometer stretch where the Flying Spaghetti Monster and crew is featured on the sign, and we're going to go pick up trash.
Nice.
what do you mean, we
kilometers,
pale
that's like
face?
2 football fields. Nice. What's up, George?
What do you mean, we pale face?
Okay. John Richards, I know you got the most to plug. Go for it. Everyone pay attention. Get your notebooks out.
It's very easy. It's all on Freethought Productions YouTube channel. And
Nice.
I do a growing number of shows. I do the Global Atheist News every week, where we gather reports about the religious impact that it makes on humanity. Then the follow-up show, as Dred said, and he's coming to help me with it, and so are you, Ty, thank you guys,
Yep.
is the review where opinionated people express their views of the news. Then I also do Freethought Hour, which is like an interview show with one special guest. I did a great one yesterday with, thanks to my guest, who is a guy called Jeff Dazenbrock Kane, who used to be a host himself and has quite a lot of presence on Facebook, particularly in Unbelievable ? Group. Then I appear as a guest myself on other people's shows. And the one coming up now, which I'd like to plug, is for, what's he called it? I'll get his name up in a minute. It's God TV Radio Live podcast.
Nice. Okay.
And that's hosted by Brett Keane, and it's scheduled now. My first appearance as his guest, apart from the odd one that I did today, is on Tuesday the 27th. Is Tuesday the 27th? Yes. No, Wednesday. Beg your pardon. Wednesday the 27th at some hour or other. Anyway, it's scheduled, and my opponent, 1 a.m. in, I think that's Central Time. So that's going to be very difficult for me. Well, I better check the timing.
Okay.
My opponent, anyways, Kent Hovind. So I'm looking forward to chatting to him. Dr. Dino.
Mhm.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing about Brett Keane is he claims to be a former atheist. He used to put out videos, I think, as an atheist per se. So be sure to ask him all about that.
Yeah, former atheists are the ones that scare me the most because, in a weird way, most religious people are. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. We don't have the time for it right now. But basically, it's a sad thing for someone.
Later.
Yeah. Born again atheists. We may have to talk about that. But anyway, Larry, that John Richard's plugs were so numerous and so well worth listening to that I forgot what atheism is and what it's all a Can you help me out here?
Well, if we're talking about plugs, we could plug my book, I guess. Atheism, What's It All About? Is a book that I've got on Amazon. So you can go there and download either an electronic copy of it or order the paperback. My other content and pretty much all of the stuff that's in the book can be found at digitalfreethought.com. When you go there, be sure to click on the blog button for our radio show archives, atheist songs, videos, and articles on the subject. My YouTube channel can be found by searching for Doubter 5 or Larry Rhodes. And that's about all the stuff I really wanted to link to as far as content.
Just a heads up, thank you for all the comments. Just feel free to leave them at the end of our channels, respectively. Mind Pirate, Doubter 5's channel, John Richard's channels, many channels, my channel, anyone. And we'll be happy to review them over the show.
And we're ready to sign out now.
Let's do it.
Thank you for joining us on the Digital Freethought Radio Hour. Remember, you can find our podcast at Apple iTunes, Pocket Casts, Amazon, and podcasts everywhere. Just search for Digital Freethought Radio Hour. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Remember, everybody is going to somebody else's hell. The time to worry about it when they prove that heavens and hells and souls are real. Until then, don't sweat it. Enjoy your life, and we'll see you next week. Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Ramen.
Robin.
Love it.
Awesome.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. What I was going to